Hi guys, thanks so much for watching. Speaking of, I'm Stephanie, and today we have Laurie, and she is my cousin and writer. Laurie, thank you so much for doing the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you for asking me.
You're
This is
welcome.
exciting.
Well, you said that you've been enjoying this quarantine. What's
I
been your favorite
have.
part of that?
What's that?
What's been your favorite part of the quarantine?
I think the lack of obligation. It just seemed like a lot of pressure was off, which I feel is rather interesting because for a lot of other people, that pressure was added. They instantly felt overwhelmed. Now they're juggling their children's online education and they're being teacher, they're working from home, they're now in their home having to manage their home. All of the factor in like we're in a pandemic, that's scary, and how to stay safe and how to navigate all of this. And they felt very overwhelmed, which I completely hear and respect because that's how I have felt being out in the world, working, managing, juggling my children's education, my job, my home, all of those things. So I had almost like a reversal from what I think a lot of people experience. We were rather vulnerable even before, I think, in ways that maybe we didn't want to admit. And so now with all of that revealed, and now maybe hopefully having some appreciation for whether it's ourselves or our families or our personal goals and dreams, that's where I think the focus can shift. And if we're all doing something that does fulfill us, then what a better world. That can't be bad, right?
You believe in dreams?
I do. I don't I don't think I've lived long enough or maybe risked enough to know whether or how to manage or follow that. I mean, there are lots of people who had dreams to do whatever and it didn't work out for them. And they did follow them. I read The Alchemist. And there's a part of me that really, it makes sense. I can subscribe to it. I haven't yet been able to apply it. Like I can't, just leave everything that I want to leave behind and start something. Like I still need to provide. I still need, if I didn't have children, maybe it would be different. I think when you have children, you feel a sense of, that security becomes more important and harder to let go of.
What would you like your life to look like?
And I've thought of that. I thought like, well, if it's not even a matter of career, let's take the career out of it, of what I want to do. What would it look, or not even look like, what would it feel like? And so I pared that down to what would it feel like? It would feel like ease, and that I would be active. What I have found reassuring is, I think it was Oprah who said it, you do what you have to do until you can do what you want to do. I'm just doing what I can with what I have where I'm at now. So I'm just starting, and I just keep, as long as I'm doing something creative, then that seems to appease my, I don't want to say anxiety, but it kind of quells the pressure.
What caused you to pursue speech language pathology instead of something more creative?
I'm a late bloomer. I think I didn't know that I even had this in me. That was never discovered. I didn't know. I had kind of played around with some things, but never to the point where I received any affirmation about, oh, you're good about, or good with that, and you can do that. And and to where dominoes would start to take over. I never had that. I was good in school. I was an academic. That's what I was good at.
You said you were a late bloomer. At what point did you discover that you were interested or good at writing, and how? How do you just happen upon that?
Well, and it's funny because I guess I just didn't get the hint. And I figured you were going to ask me that. So earlier I was thinking about that. Like, at what point in my life did I know, or did I do something with that? And the earliest thing I can remember, I don't remember what I wrote exactly, but I wrote something. And I want to say I was in second or third grade. It was a poem of sorts. I don't remember what it was. And maybe I was younger, but that's what I'm recalling. In sixth grade, I know I wrote a poem, and the student teacher that we had said, well, this is good. But I didn't know what that meant. I had started writing just on my own. Words would come to me. I'd put them down on my phone because I had my phone handy. That's what I had. And then my dad passes. I've got all of this different perspective, emotion, all this happening. And then I'm watching some other people put out things that they've written. And now they have a blog. And like, it at least looks like something. They're doing it. And I'm reading it, and it wasn't like it was bad and cut rate, but it was good. But I thought, mine's no better or worse. Like, it's equal. Well, if they're doing it, I could do it. And so I just started doing it. It's not overly popular. I'm working on finding places or publications that fit what I'm writing in order to submit there, to kind of gain some kind of traction. But that's just kind of where it happened. And I would say even before 2015, there was,
Which is when your dad died.
yeah, there was a craving, definitely a craving, a creative craving, but I didn't know necessarily what it was, what to do with it. But
what is your purpose or goal for doing it? Is it because you want to get what you have in out? Is it because you want others to read your experience and perhaps share that experience? Is it because you want to continue growing as a writer and potentially make a career?
I'd say all of the above. I mean, there is something very cathartic and therapeutic about that purging. And I don't think I'm probably a very expressive person in person. So it's an outlet that is both safe and scary all at the same time. My purpose for a long time, and it does remain, that I felt and found comfort in hearing other people's stories and their experiences. So, I mean, I think I will write for a long time to come, probably as long as I'm able to. Whether or not I will continue to share it, I question that. Is just as far as like, if it's truly not going to go anywhere and I've exhausted all avenues, then this is not it. That okay, I will let that go, but I will probably still write for myself just because it is an expression. But for people, what's that?
Why would you let it go, and what does it mean if it's not going to happen? What defines happening?
I would say to where my work is published by somebody other than me, and they're paying me for my work.
What if it's not getting published? What if it's that you grow your blog or your Facebook page to large numbers and you end up, I mean, you can make money doing those things too.
Right. Absolutely. Yes.
And I mean, you're still sharing.
So that would be right. That would, then I wouldn't walk away from it at that point. I would continue. Unless for some reason I didn't find it fulfilling anymore. If by those large numbers, then I began to feel pressured and it wasn't healthy for me anymore, then I would walk away from it at that point. So there's like a sweet spot in a whole big Venn diagram of fulfillment, contribution, what's healthy for me, economics, you know, where all of those things overlap is the sweet spot where I think we all want to find ourselves. We all want to find ourselves in that middle where everything aligns and life is good.
Is it for you or to help other people or both?
Both.
Which is more fulfilling now?
I think given the day, one will take over. I mean, it fluctuates.
Why do you think that your dad dying was what prompted this?
I think, and when you lose somebody, you do have an understanding now that your time is limited. Life is precious. Things can change. Combined with, in my experience of grief, it kind of took away everything that wasn't important anymore. So it stripped away all those things that don't matter. So then what I'm left with are the things that do matter. And I began to find then my truth and my true self. Whereas before, I unknowingly had sacrificed that for everybody else. Whether it was for an expectation, it was whether to please, it was whether to keep everybody else happy. And then with all of that removed, I began to then return to myself. And what is there? What do I do with it? What do I value? What do I want?
And what do you think people don't know about you?
I don't know, because I don't even know what people do know about me. I think that's such a loaded question. I have no idea how others perceive me. None. I hope that they see my kindness, first of all, that they see my genuineness and my kindness. Yeah, intent is very important to me, and I hope that my intention is what people see. So whether it's to share or to help, I hope that that's picked up on. Sometimes I do worry about either coming across maybe bossy or demanding in my writing, that I don't strike the right nerve with that connection.
Where do you want to be in 5 years?
I used to have those kinds of plans. What I want is more of, I want to feel fulfilled. I want to feel strong. I want to feel healthy and have those around me where I feel a community of belonging, where all of my gifts are worthy contributions. So even, and I mean, it's possible that that could happen with what I'm doing now. As long as I feel those things, that's more my goal, not to have something published in New York Times. If that happens, great. But I've placed more value on not necessarily those types of goals, but more on my well-being.
How do you describe your writing, or how do you feel like that comes out in your writing?
Sometimes the writing is nothing more of an exploration and a way for me to process that. So sometimes I'm able to find conclusions just that were unexpected from when I started on a certain piece. That then once it's down and once I start following that and processing that, I almost answer my own questions sometimes.
Do you write all at once, or is that something that you might work on for days?
I think most of what I do, it comes at me and I get it out. There are some times that maybe I'll spend a few days on, and that's probably long for me. I try to hit when it's fresh, and even in my editing, it's all immediate. And sometimes there were other things planned. Well, now I'm not doing that because I've got to. If I don't do this right now, it's not going to work. But there are other pieces that I know I need to be more careful with that I do spend more time on.
When you said that you have to be careful with certain things, is that because you're worried that people will misconstrue what you're trying to say, or you're trying to be sensitive to a particular topic, or maybe it's something that happened in your life that you need to kind of let it sit for a minute before you're putting out first reactions?
I think, yes, again, to all of those, not necessarily all at the same time. There have been pieces where, well, and I just did put one out on the blog that I've held on to for 2 years. When I wrote it, it was just so personal. And now when I read it back, I don't know why I necessarily felt like, but it was really personal and it felt really raw. And I thought, I'm not ready to share this because I am a private person. So sharing's hard for me. But in light, we're living in this time when like so much is happening and so much is changing, and so much of it is hard and confusing. And I do sense that there's a lot of parallels and similarities to what I was experiencing then. So, like something reminded me of that essay, went back, pulled it out. Now's the right time for that.
What inspires you to write those things?
So sometimes it's current events. It's what I may be able to see either outside and how it mirrors what I'm feeling inside, or vice versa. That's inspiration. I'm very inspired by just the natural order of life. So nature, both visually and metaphorically.
What did you like to do for your kids growing up? What's your favorite memory with them?
My favorite memories with them are a lot of physical affection, the scooping and the squeezing and the giggling. I hope they remember those times as well, that they don't remember me yelling at them to clean their room.
What was it like being a working mom with them?
My heart was always at home. And I know that they go to school during the day. But for me to craft a home and its environment, and to be able to take care of the laundry, the cleaning, the meals, so that it's not chaotic. It's that chaos that, due to all that juggling, that just weighed on me. that has gotten better. I mean, as they've gotten older. But I mean, it's taken a long time.
What's it like now with a 50% empty nest?
I don't mind it. I like it. And I think maybe because as we talked, I did have the kids while I was younger. So I feel like there, and I'm at a point where I'm just now discovering myself. So that there's some freedom that comes with that. That the caregiving is not gone. It's still there. It's just different and maybe easier for me to manage at this stage.
Thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Laurie, so much. And we will put up the address for Laurie's Facebook page so that you can follow her writing on there and hear about all the great things that she had. And hopefully someday we will see all of this stuff published. And, certainly if you like it, we'd love you to share that too. So thanks again for watching, and thanks to Laurie for being on.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.